perspective sits on the scale. It depends on, yes. All this stuff is just conceptual framework. So, you're making decisions about what you want to include in the conceptual framework. So you're picking something to observe. So let's say you want to observe nature. Well, is nature masculine or feminine? It's like, well, it depends on what you're comparing it to. If you take an individual human, in this case, let's look at the object and the space as the order, because the object is associated with order, because all objects, to be objects, they have to be ordered. There's a molecular relationship there that is ordered. Space represents chaos because it's the unknown, it's formlessness, it's potential, it's the future, it's the unknown. So, you want to talk about nature, is like, well, nature's full of order and it's full of chaos. It really is like the ultimate balancing act between order and chaos. But if you're just trying to decide, is nature masculine or feminine, you have to put something else in context. So if you're talking about an individual person, and you could probably debate some of these things, but I would put the human being as the order, because the human being is the individual. If these are all just conceptual frameworks, then from the perspective of the human, nature is feminine, because nature is chaotic and it's unknown and you don't understand it completely, and it is just this collection of billions upon billions of things, whether it's the relationships between all these creatures or the relationships of these creatures with their environment. There's so many factors that human beings, it's really hard to really capture it all at once. And in a certain way, nature can be viewed as masculine because it's the active thing that's happening in this space that is just a barren ball of rock, apparently. So, the earth is just this sort of empty place without nature in it. Nature's kind of this object within this space that's conducting all of these experiments, let's say. That was one of the coolest things about all these relationships, that I sort of thought, man, that's really trippy and cool. And then I start getting into well, why don't they teach this kind of stuff in school?